Okay, then, so this is Mr. West, Rossit's Moustache, and it's green pen time, isn't it? Okay, how are you going to improve your Year 8 SPM 1 JFK? JFK. Let's have a look, shall we? So, have a look through. At the top of each slide will be the colour. Look at the colours you've got given, and then work on the ones you need to improve. Let's go. So often quite a nice way into this kind of piece of interpretation work is to do a little bit of a introduction, okay? What does the author believe? Now, you can see here that he concludes Oswald acted alone, okay? And it's quite nice just to put a bit of an intro into your work. Not a lot of you did this, but could be quite nice. The author of the interpretation, Max Holland, believes that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. He believes, and just summarise what he's doing. Very, very briefly, just summarise what he's doing before you start your work, okay? Basically, a lot of what he says is people can't believe just one person did it, and also something doing money. Where's that? Yeah, not surprising. Some of them are just outrageous. And that the evidence is easy to disprove. So that's what he believes. So it could be quite nice just to bang a little intro in there. Show the examiner, i.e. me, or whoever, that you've done the good look at the interpretation and get a good introduction in. Okay, so blue, begin each paragraph, and I guess that's the phrase, each paragraph, by referring to the interpretation. So down here, what I've done is I've just put a couple of exemplar starters to the two paragraphs. The author interpretation one, Max Holland, believes that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. To a large extent, I agree or disagree with this view because, and then the other side of it there. But I found with some people they did it for one paragraph, and then they wrote another paragraph on the same side, and they didn't refer to the interpretation. So I should see the word interpretation in the beginning line of every paragraph, including your conclusion. Check it out and use these to help you. Okay, green's to do with specific evidence that agrees with the interpretation. So here's a nice little sentence start that you might use. They basically say that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. Now, a couple of bits of advice for this is, first of all, make sure you're putting several bits of evidence in and that you're explaining how these bits of evidence prove Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, okay? So, for example, Lee Harvey Oswald attained the rank of sharpshooter in the Marines, okay? Meant he could fire rapidly and accurately at a distance up to 200 yards. This proves that he could have acted alone because he had the skills to make the shot. So phrases like "this proves that," "this meant that" are really important, okay? Penn and Teller have produced a video that shows that JFK's head could have moved actually towards the direction he was being shot at. Okay, this proves that all the shots could have come from the same place from Lee Harvey Oswald. There's 3 shell casings, okay, where Lee Harvey Oswald shot from. This proves that 3 shots were fired from his location, and he could have fired them all. 2 more there at the bottom here for you to add in as well. This proves that, this meant that, and making sure you're linking the evidence to the interpretation that he acted alone. Okay, red, specific evidence that disagrees with the interpretation, okay? Here's a nice little sentence starter for you. And what I would say is that the key phrase here is to make sure you're using the right evidence and also you're saying how it proves it, okay? So let's take our friend Nelson Delgado there, okay? He said that Lee Harvey Oswald wasn't a very good shot. A lot of you mentioned that, but then you didn't say, and this proves that he couldn't have fired all 3 shots and hit the target like he did, or it's very unlikely because he wasn't a very good shot. Okay, in the Zapruder film, it looks like JFK shot from 2 different angles. This proves that Lee Harvey Oswald couldn't have been the only person firing. If a shot came from the grassy knoll, he couldn't have fired from both places at once. A magazine article on the Mannlicher rifle describes it as dangerous and inaccurate. This proves that it's unlikely that one man would be able to fire 3 shots into such a small area. Okay, so make sure you've got the evidence and you're using that phrase. This proves that. Okay, so for pink, what I've done is I've taken out some of the elements of the mark scheme for you. And what I've done is I've just put the mark scheme here, okay? Students should be able to identify 2 main assertions, that Oswald acted alone and that conspiracies only exist to make money, or people can't believe Oswald could have done a huge crime alone. So that means that there isn't just one thing that the interpretation says, but there's actually 3 things, okay? So in your conclusion, have you engaged with all 3 of these, okay? So why would you say that it's not fair to say conspiracies exist just to make money, okay? And just because people can't believe Oswald could have done a huge crime alone, is there more to it than that? So try and engage with all 3 parts of this in your conclusion for a really top standard. It might be that you've got a conclusion in there, but I've still put pink as a target because I want to see you to try and engage with all 3 of these, okay? A lot of you did the top one, number 1, done. But then 2 and 3, people didn't really engage with. So try and think about, right, well, he says that people can't believe Oswald could have done a huge crime alone. And then what evidence have you got for that? And then bring it into and add it to your conclusion or right one. Okay, so Navy. Actually, I'll be honest with you, a consistent line of reasoning was pretty good throughout this answer. Loads of you did these top 2 bits here. Whether you agree or disagree, you wrote the first paragraph with that kind of starter and the second paragraph with that kind of starter, or vice versa. But an area that's improvement for a lot of you is the end of the second paragraph. So when you've written, like for example on this side here, you've written that you basically agree with the view, okay? You've said why you agree with it, and then you say, well, even though I agree, there's some reasons that disagree, and you go on to talk like that. Well then, what you then need to do at the end of that paragraph is this bit at the bottom here. You must say why, and that word compelling is a really good one. Why is this evidence not as compelling as the other side of it? And you can see on this side here, it's exactly the same. And it's usually that bottom half that people haven't done. But you might not have done the top half either, so have a look at that. We should see Navy at the beginning of each paragraph and at the beginning of your conclusion, and at the end of the second paragraph, or second section if you've written more than one. Okay? Okay, so the last target, purple. Mention how the origins of an interpretation affect its accuracy, okay? So here what we've got is we've got the mark scheme. Students may recognise that the historian spent time studying the tapes and applying digital technology. If there were other shooters, then he would have been likely to know, yeah? Having looked at all the footage and used digital technology, you would think he would know about that. So that's the thing there. And what I think's interesting is this bottom one that you could add in. Would Dale Myers agree? We know that Dale Myers has made what sounds like a very, very similar digital reconstruction, doesn't he? Okay, they've both used similar methods and come to similar conclusions. So does that mean that you're more likely to agree with the interpretation? Okay, so I would, if you've got purple, try and engage with both these points here.